What is up, guys? This is Audio Dope Beats here, and this is my first recording. I've actually been trying to find out a way to how I could get a microphone to do like a recording, because I've been wanting to do some behind the scenes of certain beats and all that to kind of help out and give back to the community. I wanted to thank you guys all for subscribing to the channel and liking and sharing the videos. I've been noticing that my channel's been growing a lot, and I definitely want to help out. This video is for the aspiring producer or beat maker that likes R&B as much as I do, or even just the casual person that just loves listening to R&B beats. And yes, you can make R&B beats on FL Studio. There are plenty of dope guys that I listen to and know that use FL Studio exclusively and make beautiful R&B on there. Really, you could make any genre on FL Studio. I know at first it was kind of designed more for electronic producers, but you can make anything. So with that being said, I'm making this video to break down one of my most well-received beats that I have made recently. It's a Tank LA / Eric Bellinger type beat. It's called Naughty. I made it a few months back. Like I said, I got a real good feedback from it, and so I figured, let me just kind of break down the beat, and show it, and I'm hoping that it helps you out. So let's get to it. So nowadays in R&B, a lot of R&B nowadays is like really ambient and hazy, and I'm talking about as far as like mainstream R&B, like Chris Brown, Tank, Eric Bellinger, that type of vibe. For like your underground artists, like your Lucky Days and Jameson, they're gonna kind of have more of a different vibe. But I'm talking, this beat is kind of more like a mainstream modern R&B sound, but I still kind of put it in my way with my own influences and all that, because I feel like a lot of production is like extremely simple, and I'm not underestimating it, but I just kind of feel like I add my own twist and all that stuff, because I was heavily influenced by mid 2000s R&B. I was in middle school at that time, so that's when my ears really started to focus and developing on music and all that. So I'm studying the greats like Brian Michael Cox, Rodney Jerkins, the Underdogs, etc. So I'm used to listening to those lustful chords, listening to those chimes in every 4 to 8 bars, transitions, and all that stuff. So I incorporate a lot of that stuff along with the modern twists and all that in here. So let's see. So usually when I start on a track, especially if it's an R&B one, I'll like to start off with the chords and all that. So with the modern style, usually it's like a pad-ish type sound, and it usually has like a filter on it. So I found this sound in Omnisphere, enigmatic pad vibe. I think I turned off, I did turn off one of the sound layers on it. And let me play it without the EQ, because I did filter it to kind of give it more of a sound. So this is it without the filter. That's cool, but there was kind of like a little bit of like a hissing, like rocky sound that you could kind of hear if you listen closely to it. So to kind of get that real chill, hazy vibe-ish, we just put a little EQ on it. We put a high pass, and it sounds like this. Much better. So you kind of have that as the fundamental. So here is the chords. You have pretty much the meat of the track, and usually you want everything to follow the appropriate chord and the progressions accordingly. So this beat, I made it in B flat minor. It's following a 6-4-3-2-1 progression. That's not a common progression, but really once you get to a certain level, it kind of just really using your ears, so it sounds good. And just made it, you know, along and all that stuff. So B flat minor is the relative minor of D flat major. So you just use all the notes in that scale, and then you get that. So in R&B usually use a lot of minor chords, a lot of dominant chords. Me personally, I love to use minor sevenths, and as you could see in the chords here, I do use a lot of sevenths. So that's I guess my style or sound or anything like that, or it's what I'm influenced by. So it's a 6/4 3-2-1 progression. You could do that in any key. Just so happen to make it in B flat minor that day. So you can use any progression. You can use 2-5-1, 1-4-5, 3-6, 2-5-1, 7-3-6. The number system will definitely help you out. If you're not familiar with that, please look that up on YouTube. Plenty of great theory channels to help you out with that. So yeah, so that's the pretty much the main chords and all that. The next thing I added was like this little sound that kind of is like layered with a with my claps and snares. It's like a synth perk. This part is a synth perk which is layered with the snare. It's called Ankara Dreamer. So it's pretty much layered with the claps and all that. Let me see if I could find a part with it. So you hear it on every other snare. It's kind of just to give it the beat more texture and flavor instead of just sounding like generic and all that. So let me see the next part. I kind of had like this sound. It's called Wet Diapers. I used this on other beats before. It's kind of like a FX sound, and when you play around with it, it kind of matches the vibe of the beat and all that. Really, when you're making beats, whether it's R&B, trap, pop, or whatever, you kind of want to have sounds that fit together because sound selection is the biggest key. So like the sound here, it has like a real, you know, ambient, hazy-ish vibe. So let me just play it. And if you hear it with the beat, take the bass off. Yeah, we're gonna get to that sound because that sound's one of my favorites when I was making the beat. I think that's like one of the core of the sounds. So here I have pretty much the synth bass line that kind of plays throughout the whole track. Usually on like older style R&B, there will be like several different like bass melody patterns. Like usually, I remember like back like in middle school, like as I was referring earlier, like Brian Michael Cost Underdogs, they would do like on the final chorus, they would do like a second or third like bass style melody. But usually in a lot of modern tracks, it's usually just like one melody that kind of goes through and through. Maybe might switch up on the chorus, but I just wanted to keep it simple. So I'm just pretty much like playing through the scale and then making sure that it hits on the kick and all that. So I like to use a lot of Moog synth basses. I don't really use 808s that much. I know 808s, you know, that's like the core of hip hop and R&B and music in general, but I'm really like a synth bass guy. I really love playing synth basses. It's just the feeling is unmatched to me and all that. So this is how it sounds. Dope. So the next part, I had this explosion sound that I put like in the beginning of the beat, right when it drops around here, and towards the I think I put it right during the breakdown after the second chorus and on the final chorus. So it's just something just to kind of you know, add to the beat and all that. Play when I play the whole beat back. The next sound, this is one of my favorite sounds. This is a sound from, I think it is from Omnisphere, but I think it's from version 2.5. It's when Omnisphere released their hardware library simple, and they had like hundreds of free patches and all that. And this was one of the first beats that I made when I made the update to it. It was a really dope sound that I felt really matched the vibe of it. Yellow Magic. Let me play it for you. So it's like really ambient, a little psychedelic sound in it. I also added a piano sound, you know, for a melody, because you want the singer to be able to think of a melody so that he or she could sing on or whatnot. So you gotta have some sort of melodic tune in it. So here's the sound. It's the ambient space piano. I'm gonna show all my stuff. You know, I'm not the type of beat maker or producer that likes to hide their sauce or whatever, because at the end of the day, most of us use presets for our sounds. You know, unless you're a cat that's out here actually designing every single sound from scratch, there's not really any sauce to really be hidden and all that. And I'm the type of person I like to give back, and I love to learn. So, you know, if y'all have any questions at the end or whatnot, you know, drop a question. I'll be glad to answer any question that you have about the speed or anything. So we have that. Let me see what else. I also have a transition. I think I have this transition going pretty much to like every next part. So it's going from the intro to the verse, and then after the last few bars of the first verse into the chorus, etc. So I have that. I usually have some sort of chimes or some sort of sweep that plays. Oh, I didn't put it on this beat, but usually on a lot of my beats, I'll have it in every single like every 4 or 8 bars, kind of to signify that it's going to the next part, and also to show that something is coming in or coming out. Because I think it's good to have some sort of dynamic switch up in the beat so that the beat is not monotone. But granted, every beat is different, because you could have a club beat where literally all you need is 2 sounds and it's fire enough. But I like to keep my thing simple, but I still like to have a lot of depth and layer at the same time. I like to be real detailed and meticulous with my beats and all that. So I'll play that when I play the whole beat. I also added this counter melody. It's from Philharmonic Miroslav. It's a pizzicato sound. I added this on the second chorus, the second half of the second chorus, because I like to add sounds on every chorus. Like it builds up more and more up until the final chorus. So check it out. Yeah, so at this point, that's pretty much all of the synth sounds that you hear throughout the beat, and from here on, it just got a bit of percussion. So the percussion is pretty contemporary. Just mixes the current modern trap sound along with some R&B elements, such as some soft claps and snaps, and dashes of reverb, and you know, you have your cymbals and chimes and stuff like that. So let's go through the sounds. So you have your kick. I play all my sounds, and I'll just quantize them after. Kind of gives it more of a natural feel. Oops. You have your hi-hat. It's a little bit slightly complicated. I mean, it's not like Southside complicated, but something. You have a snare with some reverb on it. Snap layered with it. You have a heavy reverb clap. You have a chime. You have another clap. I think this is a cymbal. Like a transition sound. And you have your seagull solo. I don't think I explained this sound earlier. So this is like another like auxiliary sound that's usually placed when you're going to like the next part of the beat. So I just play pretty much the root note, and that's it. So yeah, those are all the sounds, the percussive sounds and the synth sounds, and that's what makes the naughty beat as you hear it. As far as the structure, well, I like to make my beats in double time. So if you notice, you'll see it says 117 and it'll be like, hold up, this is probably too fast for R&B. Nah, in double time, I just feel like you can do more with the, I guess, with the amount of time. I don't really know how to explain it, but I just feel like I can fit more into doing a beat in double time than to do it in regular time. So with that being said, everything is double. So instead of actually 4 bars being used, is actually, you know, 2 of these that counts as 4 bars. So usually I'll have a 8-bar intro, or sometimes I might just start it off with the chorus. In this case, I actually did start it off with the chorus. So I'll just do like the first half of it, you know, very bare, just, you know, a bit of the melody and the bass line, and then the second half of it I'll have like the drums that'll kick in, and then after that you strip everything away and you kind of build it up. So usually in R&B there's 12 bars in a verse, so pretty much every 4 bars are like add something to it. So the first part of it, you just really see that you only have like the pad and some of the snaps, and then it starts building up. Like you'll hear some of the electric percussion, then you'll start seeing some of the drums, and it builds up. The bass line comes back in on the chorus. You start hearing counter melodies, and then on the second verse you notice that the drums are more apparent and there's more stuff. So pretty much the song keeps building up more and more and more and all that. And then usually after the second verse, there's usually either a bridge or a breakdown. In this case, for this beat, I decided to do a breakdown. So you just pretty much strip everything down. You could consider it a bridge if you want, but you know what I call a bridge in the traditional sense is usually chord changes, stuff like that. But you know, I just didn't have the idea for a bridge, or sometimes I just don't think a bridge is necessary in the beat. So I'll do like an 8-bar breakdown. You know, you could use this, the singer could sing on it, you could solo, you know, have a beat break or whatever. In this case, you know, I just took the drums out and just let the bass play with one of the counting melodies, and then another one came back in. And then after that, then it goes to the final chorus. So the final chorus is pretty much where you have all the sounds together, and this is really where the singer, you know, really goes in, literally, and all that. So you want to end it with a bang. I remember, I think there was one interview where Harvey Mason of the Underdogs, I think he had mentioned, they had asked him, I think it was a Pensado's Place interview, where they had asked him about like his bridges and his choruses, and he says usually his bridges and final chorus usually where he really likes to experiment and make the singer, you know, sing their full best and all, and do the most vocal stacks and all that. So, you know, usually when you make these beats, you usually have like a singer in mind, of how you would imagine them singing and all that. So in this case, I could fully imagine Tank just killing this track and all that. So that's pretty much it. That's the full structure of it. You could structure your beats any way, but this is pretty much like the traditional way of how R&B beats are done. It's usually 12 bars for a verse, and 8-bar hook, and 8-bar chord, a bridge or breakdown, and then I had like a 16-bar like final chorus. I did like an 8-bar final chorus and pretty much like another 8-bar outro, because I do a fade out after the first final chorus. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Alright guys, so I'm gonna play the full entire beat for you. I hope you enjoy it. If you had any questions, as mentioned before, don't forget to leave a comment. I'll definitely respond as soon as I can. If you like the video, hit a thumbs up and share it. Subscribe. Definitely got more beats coming, a lot more tutorials coming for you. Thank you.